The future of the Star Wars franchise seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also let's not forget about the new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as the new Star Wars TV series to arrive on Disney Plus by, of course, Lucasfilm and Disney. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are now in a position of damage control. They are really trying to shape things up for the future of this franchise, not just with the live-action material and the animated material, but let's not forget about the lore, right? The books, the comics, the video games, and so on and so forth. That's really going to make up this new EU. Now, in case you guys are out of the loop, this new expanded universe is going to be far larger than the old one that we got back in the 1990s and the early 2000s, which I believe really does tell us something. I think it does tell us that Disney's very ambitious. They're really trying to get things right. And with the latest problem is that they're really trying to fix some of the scripts for the Kenobi TV series and the Cassian Andor TV series. But keep in mind, though, that those two TV shows are still on track for the release dates that they are actually trying to aim for. Now, with that being said, of course, what's really intriguing all has to do with the major retcons and changes and all these different changes that are being applied to the Skywalker saga as a whole, one of which all has to do with George Lucas and the character of Mace Windu. By far, one of my favorite characters out of the entire Star Wars franchise. Samuel Jackson delivered an excellent performance in all three movies of the prequel trilogy era. Now, with that being said, of course, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are now focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as their new Star Wars universe. Now, currently both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are developing multiple plans in order to create a better and brighter future for the Star Wars franchise, and for the Star Wars community around the world. Now, it's explained that they have over 10 years worth of Star Wars projects in the works. This includes the new TV shows to arrive on Disney Plus in the near future, where it's explained that currently one of the big plans by Lucasfilm is to bring back the character of Mace Windu into the Star Wars franchise for fans to enjoy. They have a plan in place in order to bring the character back to life and the fact that he never really died. This is said to have been an idea created by George Lucas, where they aim to establish this in the Star Wars lore sometime next year in 2021 in comics and books, and eventually for the Mace Windu TV series for Disney Plus. Now, one of the big plans by George Lucas is to bring back Mace Windu is, of course, by establishing the fact that Mace Windu survived by falling down to the very depths of Coruscant and eventually being taken care of from many of the criminals and other scum that lives within the underworld, giving Mace Windu a mechanical arm and even treating the wounds on Mace Windu's face. Now, it's said that Lucas is set to make it canon that Mace was able to survive the direct fall from Palpatine's office into the streets of Coruscant, and that Mace Windu is set to have a brand new lightsaber in the new Disney canon. Now, George is set to give Mace Windu a brand new design for the character in order to differ him from the prequel trilogy era, and will even explain the true death of Mace Windu in the coming years, that will explain as to why he came back as a Force Ghost voice in the Rise of Skywalker ending. Now, this plan by Lucasfilm is to attract the fans of the prequel trilogy era that George created for the fans back in the early 2000s and the late 1990s, and that the return of Mace Windu is said to be a revolutionary comeback for the character in several forms of canon under Star Wars. This plan by Lucasfilm is described to be handled also by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in order to create a more positive route for the new Star Wars franchise. Now, the Mace Windu TV series is aimed to drop sometime in either 2023 or 2024, and that before all of this, stories will be told of Windu's survival in the forms of books, comics, novels, and even video games that are being planned in order to create a powerful new Star Wars universe that will eventually match up against the MCU. Now, Lucas, Favreau, and Filoni are hard at work on making this happen correctly for the fans around the world. Now, the thing about this, I know that there's going to be quite a divide of fans that are going to be all for Mace Windu coming back alive and well, and there's also going to be fans that are going to be against this idea. We've seen a common trend now with Disney, right? They love to bring characters back to life, and with Han Solo being the exception here, of course, every character that fell down into a pit or a deep chasm was either dead or came back to life and died later. We've seen a prime example of this with Luke. We've seen a prime example of this with Darth Maul, Palpatine, even Mace Windu falling, all these characters that fall at one point in time either survive or die later on. And it's going to be very interesting to see exactly, how the return of Mace Windu is going to be applied into the Disney canon. And honestly, giving him a new lightsaber is going to be very interesting. I like the fact that they are aiming to establish the fact that the underworld of Coruscant is going to be the destination of Mace Windu getting taken care of. And that to me sounds very intriguing, it really does. So, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.